BackTalk.
That was a burp. All right, folks. We last week, about a week ago, got back from Board Game Geek or BGG Con 2016. And we are done with the conventions for the year, with the exception of the cruise, which is a very unique experience. And we're going on that in a week. So,
not the convention.
I want to take a look back at the conventions that we went to over the course of the year, and we can talk about them a bit. We already did one where Gen Con versus Essen, so we're going to be mentioning those. But I want to talk about like our personal favorites of the conventions that we went to this year. We'll kind of rank them, maybe. And then just talk about the pros and cons, I guess, of the different conventions comparatively. Because we go to a lot of conventions. You have to realize, for the most part, we go to conventions as exhibitors / press, whatever.
Right.
Yep.
And so I think that when we don't, it's a different experience.
Sure.
I'm trying to think, which of these, do we go to any convention where we just hung out the whole time? I mean, BGG Con, we came close, but we still had a booth there.
I think PortalCon was close to that, right?
All right, so I guess we went to here's the conventions we went to this year. We went to Origins Game Show, and I'm doing these a little bit out of order. I'm doing it in order I wrote them, which is held in Columbus, Ohio. That we went into in June. We went to Gamma Trade Show, which was in Las Vegas. That was in March. We went to Gen Con. That was in August. We went to Dice Tower Convention. That's the one we host in Orlando, Florida. Essen in, well, the Spiel, it's technically called, in Essen, Germany. UK Gaming Expo, which is in Birmingham, UK.
Alabama.
No. Portal Game Convention, which was in Manchester, Connecticut. West Texas Gaming Convention, which was in
San Angelo
is great.
Texas.
Board Game Geek Con, which is in Dallas, Texas. We went to 2 in Texas. Sorry that we're like using Texas at the exclusion of the rest of America.
God's country.
BGG, I just said that. Gathering of Friends, which was in Niagara Falls. Cool Mini or Not Convention, which was in Atlanta, Georgia. And Meeplecon, which was also in Las Vegas. We went there because it was directly after Gamma Trade Show.
Right.
Now, the smallest of the conventions we went to, I think, was the one in the Portal Game Convention.
Yes.
Although the West Texas one isn't that... How big do we think that one was?
No. By far, Portal was smaller.
By far, Portal was the smaller one, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what about West Texas compared to Meeplecon? Was Meeplecon bigger?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then the Gathering of Friends is a smaller convention, too, although the Gathering of Friends is an invite-only convention that some people were invited to.
I'm invited next year, baby.
Okay, so...
Bringing the real, y'all.
If we were making a list here, and we were based on just our 2016 experiences, and I said to you guys, hey, we're going to go to only one convention, what would you pick?
Oof.
For fun. Let's not talk about which one is important to go as Dice Tower and stuff, because that's obviously... Gen Con and Essen are pretty important to go to.
I guess for me, the thing I look at when we're comparing them head-to-head like this is not... It's not what games were released there, right? It's not what can I go there and buy. It's who's there, what activities are there to do, not just on the table, but what's there, right? Like, what can you go look at? What's there? Because, yeah, it's great to get together and play games, but you are also traveling, and you want to take some advantage of that.
Right.
So for me, I know one of the ones I very much enjoyed this year was the Gathering of Friends, and that is... Because of where it is, it's in Buffalo, New York. It's right there next to the falls, the Niagara Falls. It is, you can walk into Canada. You're right there. I love the weather there when we were there.
That's not always going to be the way, but yes, it was great.
Sure. But that's why that one stands out for me. Yeah, the gaming was great. The people there were very, very welcoming. It's a wonderful crowd. But the event, everything else we did while we were there. We went into Canada. We went to Snakes and Lattes. There was an excursion out that way one of the days. A lot of things that made the trip memorable, and that I sort of tie that into the convention.
What about you?
Well, I would have to say, now I do want to say this before I give my one favorite one, is that I enjoyed every single convention that we went to this year.
Yeah, there wasn't a bad one.
Yeah,
don't feel like we're going to down the convention you were at because of you playing a game with us.
I really enjoyed meeting people and and all of that kind of stuff. Really enjoyed all the conventions, but for more selfish kind of reasons, my favorite this year was the UKGE because we just had a great time around London. We had great hosts while we were in London. I had a great time. I got to go to see Warhammer World in Nottingham. I got to go see a game cafe in Nottingham the same day. It was a tremendous trip. But on top of that, it was also a great time at the actual convention proper itself. And we had a great time with everybody who was there. Very hospitable, friendly people that were at UKGE. Had a great time. We can't wait to go back next year.
Right.
Yeah, now granted, for both of them, it was the first time that you've gone to those.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But even when I look at these and I tried to pick, it's kind of almost like those were my two favorites too, for those exact reasons. In fact, the Gathering of Friends, while I like the convention a lot, the outside things, going to Niagara Falls, going to Snakes and Lattes, seeing a Blue Jays game, that stuff is what really raised it high for me.
Sure.
UK Gaming Expo, though, I think I'm going to give the slight edge to that because while the outside stuff was great, going to London and seeing history, that was amazing. But the convention itself was unbelievably cool. Now, granted, the convention leaned towards the kind of games I like to play, but
True.
I don't know what I expected. You know, as Americans, we're often, laden with stereotypes of how people should be, right? And English people
I have no
often
idea
come
what you're talking about at this point. He's off the reservation.
No, I don't care.
I have nothing to do with this.
I wasn't expecting. I always heard that someone even sent me like a book on here's how people in the UK are. I was expecting people to be fairly reserved, I guess was the thing. And it wasn't that way. People were just like, hey. And in fact, if I went by number of people at a convention to the number of people who came by and said hi to us, UK wins hands down.
Probably so.
We barely had a minute to ourselves there. There was always people talking to us at UK Gaming Expo.
Yeah.
I really had a great time. And it was also a really good mix of exhibitor space to just playing games.
Yeah. Because they were using, it's almost like the hotel and the space that was inside the hotel was used for the gaming, but then the convention hall was exhibitors, and there was a lot of gaming going on in there as well. But if you wanted to leave that and just go play some games, you had gobs of room back at the hotel to do that in. It was really, really cool.
Cool.
So which convention has the best food in the area?
I wanted to talk about this anyway, and I might as well do it now. Board Game Geek Con. He's already laughing over there. Board Game Geek Con, the first year I ever went was last year. And I found it to be okay. It was a fine time. It was not something that I was wowed by, and in fact, by the time we got to, say, Saturday, the convention went till Sunday, I was sort of ready to come back.
Yeah.
This year, that was blown away. And I don't know why. I couldn't really quantify why, okay? Maybe it was familiarity with what I was getting into. That could be it, because it was the first time, right? It was seeing everybody again, that it really felt like a meeting point for a lot of people in gaming, whether they are, review makers or companies or just people who play games. And you know them from, Twitter or something, right? Getting together with everyone and heading out for dinner, which is, again, the food there was unbelievable. It's like gobs of Texan food just every night. It's like, gorge yourselves, you animals, gorge yourselves. That's like every night, right? And then, by the third night, we're like, okay, guys, we're going to take it easy.
Calm down.
We're gonna step it back. Let's go get something light and for sushi. There you go. Something light and fresh, right? Just something, have a few bites of sushi. Bring it all back in. Raw sushi, gorge yourself on the fish. And it was too much food. Delicious food, but good night did we eat.
All right, well, Zee actually jumped ahead here. And I was going to ask a question on which convention changed the most for you. But getting back to what I was saying.
Go ahead.
Food-wise, for me, I think Origins just wins hands down. I like BGG Con, but the problem is you have to really, You have to make an effort to
That's
go
true.
eat somewhere,
That's true.
right? And the food in the hotel there is just not that good.
Nope.
Gen Con and Essen both have some cool experiences for sure, but Origins is just the North Market alone
Yeah.
raises that up. But even outside the North Market, we went to steak places, the places across the street that melts. You know, just
That place belongs in Texas.
We didn't go to that German sausage place like I wanted to.
okay. Well, we'll go this year.
I still have
maybe.
some left from last year, probably.
That chicken place too. But anyway,
Exactly,
what do you think
exactly.
about food?
I was definitely thinking Origins hands down.
Right, 2-0.
No, I really like Origins food.
And Origins hands down has the best food. The North Market is just, it takes 5 minutes to walk over there, and you have almost literally a world of choices.
Yep.
From all different corners of the world as far as what kind of food you want to try. And I haven't been to a place yet that wasn't good in the North Market.
That's true.
Right.
That's really true. And someone told us about a market that was in Indianapolis, and we were like, oh, okay. And we went, and had we not been to the North Market, I think we would have said, this is pretty good.
And if we'd been there when everybody was actually open.
Well, I did go back when there was more places open.
Really?
And I was like, oh, this is pretty neat. But compared to North Market, psh,
Yeah.
garbage.
Garbage.
Okay, so my next question was going to be, which Zee already answered some, what conventions were the biggest changes from 2015 to 2016? Now, I have two, one for good and one for bad. One was BGG-Con. And for me, it wasn't because the second time. For me, it was very specific. It was just a lot less stressful. And it was tied to two things. One was the fact that we didn't do a show, and I said, I'm just going to go in and I'm going to play as many games as I possibly can. I played the most games at BGG-Con by far.
Yeah.
I just went and had a good time playing games. I didn't do the show. I skipped their end of the ceremonies thing, which I didn't
It's
miss.
crowded. It's
It was
crowded,
super
and
crowded.
yeah.
But the other reason is for my change from that went down a little bit was Essen. And because Essen was so exhausting for us, going to BGCon was such a relief. Essen was my biggest change where it went down, and the main reason for that was we had a lot of logistical problems, for sure, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But it also just felt so exhausting and tiresome. It was really cool, and I enjoyed it, and I liked looking at everything, but I was extremely glad when it was over. I was more tired at Essen even than Gen Con. I was glad when Gen Con was over, but when Gen Con was over, we were all like, let's go hit the town. We went and watched a movie and stuff. At Essen, we were like, bad.
Yep, time to go back to the room.
That's a very good observation there. I felt the same way, I think.
So
and the one thing that really was the final nail there for me is the crowds at Essen this year were just monumental.
Really?
I mean, where you couldn't go anywhere. Every bathroom had a line at any given moment. You could. I mean, I would have to walk through one of the big halls and not think about it twice. Be like, I don't really want to walk in there. Yeah. I'm right there with you.
I would go to the booth in the morning, and we would get there early because we kind of had to. And I would think twice about leaving the booth. Not because I enjoyed working the booth, don't get me wrong, but that's not really why I was staying there. I was staying there because I was weighing, do I really want to scrunch through that mass of humanity?
Right, even with Gen Con, you can go find a hallway somewhere that's not crowded or something, and that's not really at Essen.
You can't do that at Essen.
So again, I don't dislike Essen, but that was a noticeable change for me.
Yes.
That was the first time I'd been to Essen, so I didn't really know what to expect. And what I'm hoping is, well, I know it's probably just going to get any bigger next year.
Well, we'll get bigger, but hopefully our logistical problems will be solved, and they'll be like, "Oh, this is amazing."
To be fair, the only logistical problem was the actual driving part. We had
other things.
We had places to stay. We were fine.
We had logistical issues getting things there also, right?
Yeah. Also, that stuff didn't show up on time.
It was a troublesome time.
Yeah. But I mean, really, we're very blessed. We did not have many problems at our conventions, that things happen, and the amount of people who come by and see us. It's interesting, I said that UK, I thought, was where the most people said hi to us. I think BGG is where the least people said hi to us, which I thought was kind of odd.
Yeah.
Not you, Zee, because everyone loves you. Another convention that felt very similar to BGG-Con in that it was a rest after Essen was Meeplecon. I want to give a shout out to Meeplecon because that was a really fun local con. It was right after Gamma. We had worked really hard. And that was the least of all the cons I went to this year, well, except maybe the one in Portal. Portal was the same way, but it was just like, whatever, play some games.
Yep.
Yeah.
You gonna go
yeah.
eat lunch? Go eat lunch, whatever. It was like so laid back.
Yeah.
It was, right. And it nailed both the feeling of a small convention, a very welcoming convention, but it was being run very well. So
And
you knew things were happening behind the scenes.
It was off the strip. It was off the strip.
Yeah,
So
yeah. The location was good.
We had a very nice hotel, but it was off the strip, and it
Right.
wasn't all of this stuff, all this extra stuff going on whenever you left. It was just kind of like, this is the normal part of Las Vegas that we're in now.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. I really enjoyed Meeplecon as well.
Very much.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking later on in December about our top 10 favorite specific experiences, gaming experiences of the year.
Mm-hmm.
But really, again, I haven't made my list yet on that, but I suspect a good chunk of them are going to come from conventions.
Sure.
Oh.
Some conventions I played almost no games at. Some I played, the most games I played was BGCon. I can tell you in order. It's BGCon I played the most, Gathering of Friends was the second most, UK Gaming Expo was third,
Really?
then Origins, and then all the... Oh, Dice Tower Con. Dice Tower Con's an interesting one because it's a kind of mix between, let's laid back, and, okay, next event we're running.
Yeah, right.
Well, because we have to do so many, we put on a lot of events there, and we want to make sure everybody's having a good time, so there are a lot of things happening. But it's your hometown, event also, so you're playing games and saying hi to everybody.
That's right, we have our
got that-
cars, we can just go places,
Yeah,
we don't have
yeah.
to worry about a lot of things that we're doing.
Right.
Yeah, but it's also convention going, like you said, they all have their own thing, they all have their own feel, but there's something to love about every single one of them.
Yeah.
There really is, and I love that they are so different. If we went with how many conventions we go to a year, if they all felt the same, that'd be a huge. I mean, by the end of the year, you'd be sick of them.
Yeah.
But I, for one, by the end of the year, I'm still thrilled with discovering how each one is different from the others. Yeah, like you said, some are game heavy, some are people interaction heavy, some are new discoveries, some are bringing back the older games and getting to play those again. But they're all charming and captivating. I think convention going is something that a few years ago, like 5-6 years ago, just wasn't on my radar at all. This concept of I play games just at home with my friends, this whole convention going thing seems very but I love it.
Don't feel like you have to go to all these conventions, okay, if you're watching this. Honestly, I kind of remember, I was thinking about this when we left BGCon, how different that feels. I used to go to one convention a year, Origins. That was the only one I went to. And I remember distinctly because the buildup was like frenzied. Like, oh, it's coming, it's coming. I was looking forward to it like a vacation. And then it would come, and I was like, I must squeeze every moment out of this convention that I can.
Right.
And then when it was over, I stay as long as I can, and then I was really sad when it was over. I don't feel like that anymore because I'm almost like, I'm too blessed. I have too many conventions. So I'm like, oh, I didn't see so-and-so at a convention. Whatever, I'll see him in a month. And really that's the way it is when you see a lot of conventions. So there's good and bad to that. So when you get to go to one, I mean, really enjoy whatever it is. Yeah, it's not going to have, none of these conventions is perfect. I could list a problem with each convention. It's too big, it's too crowded, the gaming library is terrible, Gen Con. Whatever the thing might be. But if you go to it, you're going to find stuff that you do like, I think. So we mentioned our favorites, and I'm already making a convention list for next year. And we're going to go to many of these again. Not all of them, but many of them again. So,
I am curious to hear what everybody's favorite convention is out there, but not just which one, but why. The why is the thing that I'm curious about. Why is your favorite your favorite?
Right, and I don't want to hear anything about, like, in the past. I want to know based on 2016 experiences, right? I don't care if this convention used to be great 10 years ago, or you've been going there for 20 years. I want to know why it was great for you this year. That's what I think. You can also, if you want to list your least favorite convention, that's fine, too. I'm curious about that, too, and why. But if it's Dice Tower Con, no, that banhammer. No, you
The
can say,
band hammer.
That's a new thing now.
I need to get him a band hammer.
I know,
Do you
right?
have a band?
I would not do that, probably.
Banhammer.
All right, anyway, folks, thanks for watching this. We'd love to hear back from you. Until next month, I'm Vasel.
Zee Garcia. Thank you, everybody.
Sam Healey. See you on the flip side, folks.